No, it's not too cool, man. Can't do it. But listen, actually, this right here is the variance of this video. This right here has blueberries, mulberries, blackberries, strawberries, extra strawberries, with some apple, ginger, and some sea moss and bladderwracks. That's what I have in this smoothie right here. And if you don't think I'm lying, this is Dr. Sadie sea moss and bladderwracks. I actually brought it to the store for them to go ahead and throw it in there. Oh look, some good water, structured spring water with a good pH level. It's great. Such little factors. I don't know if I have any musical fans out there who love music and understand substance of sound and vibrational frequency. 432 megahertz, that's that 9 ether to the heart frequency, help elevate you through these dimensions. However, I quote Lauryn Hill, who once said, "It could all be so simple, but you rather make it hard." I can't sing that in this lifetime. However, I really want to punctuate the equilibrium that has been severed and rearrange it almost to sew it back and get it back into an interwoven groove of how we're able to transcend the mundane tactic of the recessive man. How do we combat, how do we resolve the stiflements of our reality that we felt as a brown and black people, especially in the case of Flint, Michigan right now, which is not an isolated situation, but an overall situation of how we're constantly being put under the regime of stratagem and tactical warfare method to impose a decline on our genetic factor. Now, this video is really going to be catered into the resolve. I want to share a sense of remedy through the very thing that you think is so insignificant, the very thing that we feel is so cliche, the very thing that we feel or deem to be null and void, as a result to us having an end result that is not adverse but cohesive to our ability to really tap into our core essence as a people, as brown, black, indigenous beings on planet Earth, and really start to switch up the dynamic of what we're faced with day in and day out. Now, Flint, Michigan is no surprise to anybody who understands the consistency of what the pale man or just negative influence, greedy hands on planet Earth have done perpetually, no matter where it is they've been on planet Earth. Chaos, divide and conquer, disease, plague. This is a consistent anomaly that is no longer an anomaly because it should be over and understood within your genetic reference point to knowing how to perceive an awareness amongst something that you've had a commonality with from its inception. Nowhere has this entity gone, this parasitic entity gone, and not caused the kind of chaos that we've seen as a people consistently on the planet. But this video is not catered to that. This video is catered to the resolve and how you empower yourself on a core essence. Now, no, I don't want anything that I say to really ill reflect the powerful efforts that have been made by our younger brothers and sisters who are my peers, 25 years and younger, who are out here really trying to make a resolve and really trying to create a situation where our people aren't as suffer or in such a position where they feel like suffering is the only result to unfortunate circumstance. They out here on the footwork level. They out there in Flint, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? My brothers out there in Detroit, my brothers in Philly that are going out there in Flint on the ground level doing the work. We can never shed anything of negativity upon those type of efforts, because at the end of the day they're doing something and they're trying and they're gallant in their efforts. However, we can't overlook the elephant in the room, which is the core essence of how to really resolve this situation, which is through liberatory consumption, the things that you take in. See, right now, while we're comfortable, which is why I say it's not an isolated effort, this is nothing but, for one, a test subject of Flint, Michigan, to where you use the elements that you naturally cater to by your biology, because alchemist is your ancestry. Chemistry, chemic mystery, is your systematic structure of understanding earth, wind, air, and fire, the elements that govern all sustenance of what you call a periodic table of elements, which is what they're using to attack you. Lead poisoning, that's an element. Mercury, that's an element. Cadmium, that's an element. Aluminum, that's another element. All the hyperactive hybrid forms of how they're able to influence and induce these things into your reality, making it overwhelming upon yourself because you fail to see the importance in your foundation. You fail to see the grace and the dignity to be upheld within you, coming back home to self, knowing thyself, knowing that inner divinity. Alchemy is switching those base metals into the precious metals that we know of, the gold and the plutoniums and the silvers and all these other facilitations of high frequency. That's why we're the crystals. That's why your ancestors overstood what these crystals meant and represented. But see, some people would want to call this understanding or understanding pseudo, or you want to feel like a gun law is more in your benefit. What is the gun that a black man or black woman can produce going to outproduce the creator of that very instrument? You are not going to outproduce this European that has a 400-year head start on your ass as it relates to the mindset and the psychology of why they feel like that is even in their bare necessity, because they have to make external concessions to things that they don't have going on an internal basis, which is why they're gallantly finding ways to influence you on a negative decline and tap into things that they don't have inherently within their DNA. Your immune system is your greatest weapon on planet Earth, but you're not tapping into it because you want to look at a Second Amendment. You want to look at a paperwork. You want to look at infrastructure of a broken system created by a broken mind that was perpetuated by a broken phenotype, a broken foundation in the first place. You have to tap back into your berries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, the seeds of apples. To meet the layer of the extreme, these are fruits that would naturally help cater to you being able to detox the body in a proper fashion, to where lead poisoning isn't your demise. Mercury poisoning isn't your demise. You have mercury in almost everything, and everything that facilitates your social luxuries of life, from your root canals to your tooth fillings, any kind of dental work that's taking place, from the things that you're cooking, from the brake pads to the pollution of the environment that you're in, especially if you're in the inner city. There's high levels of toxicity of heavy metals that are perpetuated and polluted through the skies and through the airwaves. So not only do you have it through your technological advances that seem like advances, but they're overwhelming your biology because you're not doing other things like taking your health seriously that would help you to move forward or stay sustaining in your ability to have the greatest resource, the greatest source of your energy known to human, which is your immune system, your biology, which you have the God-given greatness within, a superiority complex within. Taking in fruits is your resolve right now. Making sure that the lead that makes its way into your bones don't re-ingest or recirculate within the gastrointestinal tract, which is where it then gets secreted back into the bloodstream, because your body circulates just like how planet Earth spirals in this 360 degrees, 365 days throughout the year, and it also has electromagnetic field that helps what you call reverse osmosis in a sense of the function and the functionality of what Earth does with its sources. It regenerates, it recycles. Your body does the same thing. So how they're hitting you with all these scare tactics about Flint, Michigan, oh, your kids are going to have low IQs for the rest of their life, oh, your kids are going to be ADHD prone, which ADHD can't really be readily diagnosed. So you see the mental tactic, the psychological lack of defense on your end on how they're able to take advantage of that, because they know they're talking about you being plagued by something that, for one, is almost in their ability. The ball's in their court to even make it a plague in the first place, because ADHD, they could look at a very healthy, growing young boy that is just hyperactive, because young boys move and learn in a different dynamic. So they could be looking at an excited young boy who's playful, energetic, and excited, and diagnose him with ADHD, which is what they do in the school infrastructure that we see in a dilapidated form. So they set you up on a tactical framework, right? So they try to set you up on a tactical framework on a psychological basis, as well as the physical premise as it relates to letting you know all these spookalos of side effects that are going to come by way of the lead poisoning that took place in Flint. And like I'm saying, it's not an isolated situation, because it doesn't even only have to be lead, but they are smart because they know that lead also attacks the reproductive system. We know how they've done that in the past. Castration, straight cutting off all the genitalia. The aiming of the gun was the eugenics. When you understand how they always try to touch the reproductive system if they can, amongst the offset of what they're trying to do on an all-around scale, they're going to go ahead and do it. Lead affects not only the brain, so your cognizance isn't at its high resolve, so that you take heed, and probably even this message right now, to see the substance of what I'm sharing with you. The brain is attacked, the liver is attacked. The liver is going to even be readily more attacked because you're vitamin D deficient on the northern hemisphere of the planet. They know that black people are more prone to vitamin D deficiency at this point in the year. So of course they'll make this shit attack you during winter times, where vitamin D, sunlight, isn't here to aid you. So now the liver is also kept at its highest peak of function when vitamin D is proliferated within the body, which is what we also have, because the liver also helps regulate how your body detoxifies itself. The liver is attacked, the adrenal glands. So now you're highly stressed. You have endorphins constantly pushed through your system. That's stressing on the organs. What they're not telling you, while they're trying to perpetuate this sense of fear within your mind to feel like there is no resolve, other than them sending you some toxic water again, because all those bottled waters, and even our brothers putting in the good work, it's still toxic water that you're giving to people, so the core still isn't resolved. The Aquafinas, the poor brands that actually put heavy metal toxins inside of their products in the first place, which was what was the preemptive effects that helped this even be an impact in the first place. Because I tell you, if your biology was at a certain factor, bathing in a toxic cesspool, being subject to a situation of toxic waters, wouldn't have impacted us in a dramatic sense as it did if our body was at the certain level. It's like Superman. When Superman got that kryptonite around him, of course, if any regular person, Joe Schmoes, punches him, it's gonna hurt him. But if he doesn't have if he relieves himself of the things that make him weak, and now he's stronger, you could throw a punch, you could shoot a bullet, you could do anything that you kind of try to do to hurt that man, but it's not gonna infiltrate. It's not gonna infiltrate him in the least, because he has a preemptive immune biology that allows him to transcend the efforts of toxic man. So here it is, we're not utilizing our strength. Your strength is food. They're not telling you that the only way the IQ levels, the only way the ADHD, the only way the long-term effects of this whole lead poison is actually going to affect you if you keep doing the bad things that don't cater to your genetic imprint as black indigenous people. If you keep eating the bad foods, you keep eating these meats and dairies and fermented parasitic yeast, fungus, bacterial things that proliferate parasitic colonies within the body and deregulate and de-emphasize the potency and the greatness of your organ system, your immune system, to be able to ward off and detox the things out of your body that is not needed. Keep you in a stasis of ma'at. So if you stay doing the things that you're doing, is how these things are going to perpetuate. Of course, we got hurt because it was an overwhelming amount of the lead and the poisoning. So anybody would have to detox that. We're not invincible. But what I'm saying is it could be reversed. Your berries, they naturally attack. They have a covalent bonding binding influence within their within the fibers that are naturally groomed within their growth of the seed. If you look at the strawberry